to our 4th episode of Buyer and Seller Tips. Today we're going to be talking about first-time buyer hacks, what no one tells you except these two souls right here. So.
Yes.
All right, let's jump into it, Jen.
Let's go. You're running the show. I'm not sure.
I'm running the show. Do you not have your list?
I look at it when necessary.
Oh, do you?
Which is not often.
What do you think the first one is? You can't look.
I mean, it's your show. You lead.
All right, so buying a house. I actually just had a conversation with some clients last night that are helping other people with first-time home buyer, and their first-time home buyers asking a lot of questions. So this actually does fit right into what I was talking about at 10 o'clock last night with clients. So first one, get pre-underwritten or pre-approved. So pre-qualification versus pre-approval.
Yes. So we've talked about this, I feel like, on one of our previous episodes.
Yeah.
The difference. Pre-qualification, fill out some info online, and a lender will go off of that to give you a pre-qualified. So it's looking good. However, until you submit the necessary documents, and those are all reviewed by underwriting.
Yeah.
The underwriters who no one knows who they are, they exist.
They exist. I met one the other day, actually.
Did you?
I was like, you're the guy.
I've never met an underwriter. Interesting. I don't know if I've ever met like an IRS auditor either. Just like people that exist, but no one knows them.
Yeah.
Anyway, once it goes through underwriting, you're truly approved. They reviewed all of your things, your tax documents, your paycheck, your credits, etc. And then you're sitting pretty, because once you send off an offer, as agents that are representing a seller, we're going to say, oh, they're pre-approved, not just pre-qualified. Either one will work. However, if you want to kind of go to the top of the stack in theory, it'd be great that you're already pre-approved, because we know and we can convey to our sellers that they've been through underwriting. They've had, all of the boxes checked. Certainly things can still happen. Yeah. But they're looking pretty good financially, credit-wise, all those things.
Yeah. Best analogy I use is a credit card thing in the mail that says this here, hey, I'm just sending you this mail. Where a pre-approval is, I've actually gone online, filled out that information. They've reviewed the document and said, yep, you're approved for this amount of money for us. So think of that same analogy with pre-qualification versus pre-approval on there. So in a competitive market, and even though all the news out there are pockets of competitiveness, right, in every market, no matter what's going on, having that out of the way is definitely the best thing there. So. Second thing it kind of rolls into, because somebody will look at everything, budget for more than just your down payment. So you want to jump on that one?
Right. So in your conversations with lenders, and also likely you're probably planning this a little bit ahead of time too. If you are someone that needs to come up with a down payment, like you're not using a VA loan, then you've probably received that information before about what is going to be required. And yes, you should be kind of preparing for certainly an inspection, possibly out of pocket for your appraisal. Sometimes, depending on our market, closing expenses too. The lender should kind of guide you on that and what you might need. Emergency funds as well. So yes, not just thinking about your down payment. We are fortunately in a market currently, in many cases, where sellers are contributing some, if not all, towards your closing expenses. So that will offset that too. But yes, save for more than just your down payment.
Yeah, and you want to look at on the high end, 2 to 4%, just for things that come up.
Extra
and your home inspections and those pieces there, because the home inspection might be done and might save you thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future, and you walk away from that, but you're still required to pay that home inspector for their time
that cost, and then you're going to move on to another one, and there will be costs associated there.
Yep. And in today's world, the next one is don't just fixate on your mortgage payment. So you got other things that go into that, right? Mortgage, your taxes, your homeowner's insurance, HOA dues, and those can vary by neighborhood, maintenance, and potential upgrades as well that you want to do once you get into that house. Say, oh, I want to change the color of the walls or whatever that is.
Sure, yes. Although some of those that you mentioned typically fall into your mortgage payment. They're not extras.
So what falls in and what doesn't?
Your taxes, your homeowner's insurance, they will all be part of your payment. However, HOA dues, so the homeowners association dues, association, I'm not good at that word. A lot of people don't understand that is actually paid separately. It's not part of your mortgage payment. Usually here, knock on wood, they're not super high. So it's not a huge additional expense, but it is extra. And yes, if you're wanting to do paint and, I don't know, tear out walls, whatever you might want to do, you need to have some money.
Personalize it.
Tucked away for that. Yes. Make it your own.
Yeah.
And repairs that may, be needed that the seller isn't willing to do, or just whatever.
Or just a honey-do list, or just those types of regular maintenance pieces that fall into that.
And things down the line as well. HVAC unit, roof, etc. The bigger things.
Yep. All right, jumping into number 4 on our list. Negotiate for seller concessions and credit. So what is a seller concession?
So a seller concession is money that they are willing and have agreed to give to you to offset expenses that you may incur. They can't give you money towards your down payment. They can give you money towards your closing expenses, repairs that might be needed, money to pay for your agent, etc.
Yep.
Yes, negotiating those. That is the job of your agent to try to get, to a place where it's more manageable for your budget. It's very hard to go up. So, aim high, swing for the fences, and, be reasonable. That's what counter offers are for. So try to get as much as you can. That's what we always are going to do. And, just try to lighten your load of what you might have to bring to closing.
Yeah, and in a market like we're seeing current day as we're recording this, right, is, you're seeing a little more of those concessions, and really in Middle Tennessee, Clarksville, where we're at, or at Montgomery County, you really see that across the board. And we've talked about that in past podcasts around, other than that little anomaly, it's really a pay it forward kind of place, and sellers are paying that. And new construction, right? Those concessions are there for, closing expenses, title expenses, agent compensation.
Right.
If you can work in a fence or a fridge or those types of things.
Right.
Those good agents going to know those nuances and help you with there.
And your interest rate buy down as well.
Don't let HGTV cloud your vision.
Does anyone watch that anymore?
I mean, it's on in every doctor's office I go in.
Every doctor's office.
Every doctor's office. And dentist's office.
Yes. So. I haven't watched HGTV in a hot minute. However, there are many other things that are similar, I would imagine. Yes. Those are presenting everything.
So know if you're going to do repairs, hey, it might not be as quick, as easy as a 30-minute episode and everything being done behind the scenes.
Wish.
There's a cost to it, and there's those types of things that are there. So as you're looking at houses, talk to a contractor or your agent to say, hey, what is this going to take to do this? They should either help you know that answer or guide you to a contractor that could answer those questions.
Yes, and they do make it look so easy.
HGTV, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, we can basically Google anything now. So if you just want to it always cracks me up when I go on tours with clients and they're like, oh yeah, that's not a load bearing wall. And I'm just looking at it like, sure, okay. I am not an expert in any of those types of things. However, seems like it might be.
No, the state of Tennessee actually has buyers sign that we're not experts in those things to say, just so you know, I'm not a square footologist, a bugologist, a contractor, or any other thing. We're going to seek the professional assistance of that individual.
I always preface it with that. I am not an expert. However, this seems like it might be a load-bearing wall, guys. We'll find out for sure.
There's something above it, and it's holding something else up. It's holding something.
But hey, let's knock it out and find out.
Figure it out.
Totally fine.
So, now that we've kind of gone over those, some other bonus stuff is, grant programs, lender programs, federal programs to explore for first-time home buyers. There's a ton of hidden gems out there when it comes to first-time home buyer, and we'll actually see those run through the year, right? Where this lender will say, "Hey, we're allocating X amount of dollars for first-time home buyers to come to us for this," or municipalities right now, right? Like Clarksville has a $20,000 first-time home buyer grant that's out there right now. You know, Clarksville Association of Realtors, we have, through our SOS Foundation, we have, you know, $1,000 grant program we have allocated money. When that money's gone, it's gone. And then you'll see lenders do that as well, exclusively for first-time home buyers. So what have you seen in your experience with that?
Right. So I get asked about that often, and I mean, it's not truly our lane, but directing them to something is like it's like I've walked through a spider web over here. Directing them to lenders, right? And you know, just finding out the different criteria associated with if they're eligible and those types of things. That is certainly something, if they're able to take advantage of, do it.
Yeah, but I think our role in part of that is knowing what programs are out there, and hey, if this lender's doing this, and you kind of, based on our preliminary conversations with them, that's why the strategy sessions are so important, just to sit down and kind of go, okay, what do we got going on? What's your background? How's that?
Still not our lane, though.
Not all the way, but help guide them and stuff.
That's the importance of having a lender that, well, I think a local lender is a huge piece. I mean, having a lender that's in the state that you are going to purchase in, so that they're very familiar with the programs that are offered in the county/state. That's a huge piece. Yeah,
your institutional lenders may not understand that if they're sitting in a call center somewhere doing it, versus, you know, in the community.
And that's not always the case. So certainly it's, you know, case by case basis. Doesn't mean that you can't use a lender that's not local. Just something to consider.
So the federal side, right, and this is actually something that I talked about last night with the clients, is FHA loans, VA, USDA, and other programs that are there, right? So FHA loans, if we go into the yard over there.
Sorry, it's just like, I'm sorry. It's like an invisible thing that's touching me. Okay. Just edit that out. It keeps touching me.
I don't know if we can. Anyway. Refocusing. So there's some federal programs that are available out there, right? So FHA, VA, USDA, other programs. Yep, loan types, right? But, you know, first-time home buyer is 3.5% down, right? So you can get into a house under an FHA loan. Certain parameters there, what we call overlays, that are on that, where those will come into play. You know, USDA, if you're buying in the county, and more of the country is rural than not, right? There's some parameters there with no down payments for you know, non-military service member to you know, go into rural. There's some income and some home prices, guess down a certain price point and stuff like that. What we see a lot in our market is the VA, right? So for VA buyers and eligible military and veterans, no down payment required, usually a lower interest rate on that, better terms and those kind of things there. So
those are different loan programs that are offered, and I think that just goes back to making sure you're connecting with those who are familiar with what's out there and what's possible. I think the best hack would probably be to have someone in your corner with all the knowledge to make sure you're guided in the correct direction. And there's lots of options. Everyone's situation is completely different. Which a lender is going to help you with that, which an agent is going to help you with that.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that first-time home buyer is not a first-time a lot of these programs are not a first-time home buyer, right? So, you know, an FHA loan, if I sold a house, I move somewhere, I rent for a number of years, and I go to buy a new house, I can then qualify for that first-time home buyer because that time frame has expired, right? So those pieces are there. So pro tip. Ask your agent, like the Heim Group, there you go, to connect you with a lender who is specialized in these programs, right? And walk you through eligibility and how you can take advantage of those and save hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars over your life.
Correct. You don't know what you don't know. So ask the questions, or at least get connected with someone who knows.
Yeah, just start the conversation and go from there. So awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, and be sure to check out our next episode coming out in a couple weeks.
Take care.